As Medina wandered deeper into the forest, the silence around her was broken only by the sound of her own steps. Days turned into nights, and her hope began to fade. Then one fateful day, as she drank water from a stream, she was surrounded by a group of men with spears. These men were armed with weapons. "Who are you?" one of them barked. Medina, terrified, tried to explain. "I am Medina. I mean no harm. Please let me go." But they did not listen to her. They dragged her to their village, far away from her home. Her beauty caught their attention though. Her glowing dark skin, large brown expressive eyes, and perfectly braided hair stunned even her captors. As she was paraded through the village, the women glared at her with envy. They whispered among themselves, calling her a witch who used her beauty to cast spells on men. The men, however, couldn't take their eyes off her. They stared with longing, their gazes filled with dangerous desire. "She's trouble," an elderly woman said. "Keep her away from our men." Medina was sold as a slave to the royal palace, but even in her captivity, her beauty became her greatest burden. The palace guards took delight in taunting her, trying to force her into submission just because she refused their advances. They assigned to her the hardest and dirtiest tasks. She scrubbed the palace floors until her hands bled. She fetched water under the scorching sun while the guards laughed at her. "You think you are better than us, don't you? Just because you are beautiful," they said. Medina cried every night. Her beauty, once a gift, now felt like a curse. "Why is this happening to me?" she whispered to herself. She thought back to Zara and Juma, who turned to stone the moment they mistreated her. Why are these people not affected by the curse? Why is it only me who suffers? One night, as Medina lay in the corner of the servants' quarters, her tears soaking the rough mat beneath her, she heard a voice. It was soft like the wind, yet powerful. "Your beauty is not a curse, Medina," the voice said. "It is your strength. It will guide you to your truth. Do not give up." Startled, Medina looked around, but she saw no one. The words echoed in her mind, filling her with a strange sense of hope. She remembered the old woman's warning and realized that her journey was far from over. Meanwhile, back in Medina's village, her father discovered that she had been banished. He was furious with her stepmother and devastated by the news. "You let her leave? Alone? She's just a girl," he yelled. The guilt weighed heavily on him. Though he had been distant, he loved Medina deeply. Determined to find her, he left the village, searching every nearby town and forest for any sign of her. Now, one afternoon, as Medina carried a heavy jar of water across the palace courtyard, the king of the land noticed her. He was struck by her graceful movements and her radiant beauty. Something about her seemed familiar. "Stop!" he commanded. The guards froze as the king approached Medina. "Who are you? Where do you come from?" he asked, his voice firm, but curious. Medina hesitated, fear gripping her heart, but something in the king's eyes encouraged her to speak. I am from a small village far away. My name is Medina, she said softly. The king's expression changed. Medina? He whispered, the name pulling at memories buried deep in his heart. Your face. It is so much like hers, like your mother's. Medina's eyes widened in shock. You knew my mother? The king explained how he had once been married to her mother, a woman of extraordinary beauty and strength, but he had betrayed her by taking another woman. Unable to forgive him, Medina's mother fled the village, taking Medina with her when she was little. I have searched for you both ever since, the king confessed, tears in his eyes. You are my daughter, Medina. You are a princess. The news spread through the palace like wildfire. The guards who had mistreated Medina now bowed before her, trembling with fear. Medina, overwhelmed by the truth, asked the king for one favor, to reunite her with her father. The king sent his soldiers to search for him, and days later, Medina's father arrived at the palace. The moment he saw her, he wept openly. My child, I thought I lost you forever, he cried. Medina embraced him, her heart full of forgiveness. I understand now, father. You loved me in your own way, even if you were not always there. Medina returned to her village, bringing her father and the king with her. She found Zara and Juma still frozen as stones, and her stepmother weeping at their feet. Please, Medina, her stepmother begged. I was wrong. I was blinded by jealousy. Forgive me. Medina, now stronger and wiser, placed her hands on the stone. She whispered a prayer of forgiveness, and in an instant, Zara and Juma returned to life. They fell to their knees, grateful and humbled. Medina used her position as the king's daughter to unite the two villages, ensuring peace and prosperity for all. Her story spread far and wide, inspiring others to see beyond appearances and embrace forgiveness. Her beauty, once seen as a curse, became a symbol of hope and strength.